shocked by the sound of violence.
Beyond what I've just said about people beating the shit out of each other, people fighting, people smacking each other around for money, what do you think makes people gravitate to combat sports? First of all, whenever they're marketed, whenever they're promoted, whenever there's a big fight that's coming up. Combat sports is about narratives and stories. The biggest fights in the history of combat sports have been about narratives and stories. To bring back Rumble in the Jungle, the Thrill in Manila. Oh fuck! Even the fucking Conor versus Khabib fight. People took the promotion as unbridled truth and let it dictate their impulses. This is the power narratives and stories have over people. And while a lot of the time combat sports make for a nice, interesting, compelling, dramatic story, there are also real issues at their core. Real people beating the fuck out of each other for money.
What up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another Sound of Violence podcast. We are an MMA podcast. Let you know the MMA podcast you should catch, skip, and can't miss each week. This is episode number 175. I am Pulver, and I'm back yet again with my co-host, Chris Madaffer. How's it going, man?
Pretty darn well. I didn't even realize we're already on episode 175. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, we're getting up there. I figure I should say the name or the number of the episode for once, since I never fucking do that.
Yeah, we actually never do that, huh? That's a good point. Well,
yeah. I every once in a while I'll start an intro different, and then I'll forget the next week every single time. So next week's gonna be 176, but I'll probably forget to remind y'all. But this is gonna be a little bit of a weird episode. We are not live on YouTube this week, and that is because we're recording this Sunday night after the the very rough Home vs. Aldana card. And about halfway through the week, you and I both looked at that card, and we're like, yeah,
hey,
fuck, doing a preview or talking about that.
Guess how many fights I watched on that?
Probably about as many as you needed to.
Yeah, I watched 2.
Yeah, that's probably more than you needed to, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was rough. I stopped watching the main event about halfway through.
See, luckily for me, I tuned into that fight about starting in the 4th round.
Oh, so you just kept getting to see Aldana circle it the wrong way and not do anything.
I will say the end of that fight was kind of cool, but that was probably the most excitement in the entire 5 rounds. So
yeah, I stopped watching after about halfway through the 3rd round. I was like, well, this is just gonna go this way. So I just started eating hella edibles and smoking mad weed. Worked out pretty well.
That's a way to literally just send off.
Yeah. We also ended up getting hammered and watching World's End, which was pretty good.
Oh,
I still don't know if I like that movie.
That was the 3rd Edgar Wright film that he did with Nick Frost.
Yeah, the Simon Pegg one.
I never saw that one.
I've seen it a lot, and I don't know if I like it or not. It's my favorite of the movies he does. I just don't like Simon Pegg in general. I think he's hacky as fuck.
I'll say this: he's cool in real life. I don't know, at least when I met him.
I'm sure.
Talked to him for a good while at Comic-Con, I think 10 years ago. But
yeah, it sounds like some San Diego Comic-Con type shit.
Yeah, I remember I also saw Debo from Friday, and he was really cool. Even though he also looked like he wanted to eat me, but it's all good.
Right. That's hilarious. Oh, well, I guess we will go ahead and get into format. Oh, there won't be a second segment this week, though, obviously, since we're not previewing a card or recapping a card.
Nope.
Because fuck talking about Home vs. Aldana. So instead, Chris and I are, after this first segment, going to record a commentary for the movie Dragon Eyes, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme and Kung Lee, which I literally just found it by looking on Amazon for what streaming stuff was had MMA fighters in it. And I came across Dragon Eyes.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go to Amazon right now and queue that up.
Yeah, it should be interesting. So look forward to that. We will put them out as a separate episode rather than doing it as like the part 2 of this. So keep an eye out for that. And it's streaming free on Amazon Prime right now, I believe, at least in the U.S. And I'd imagine since it's a JCVD movie, you can probably find it almost anywhere.
Oh, I just saw who else is in this, but I'll say it later when we do the stream. This is fucking hilarious. All right.
Yeah, it should be good. We're going to do Fight Circus, the Camp Soda event, but that thing's like 3 hours long. And it's already...
I think we told I think he wanted to watch.
Oh, you mean G6? Fuck, I forgot that.
Fuck. Shit. It's usually you that does that.
I know.
Yeah, no, okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I think I told G6 about that, and he was really excited. I think G6 is going to join us on that. If he's in town, I think he is. So.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. And then we might also have to do, at the end of this month, we might have to do a commentary for one of the old WEC Halloween Fury cards.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool.
Those were a lot of fun, and I think that'll be pretty cool. So might end up doing that instead of a preview later on in the month. But before we get into any of that, why don't we start off with the Papa Vodka Presents, Doug Stanhope Presents, our sponsor, since even though it's Sunday night at like 10 p.m., we're still boozing. So Chris, what you drinking on this week?
Yeah, I don't really care. I got work at 9:30 tomorrow. That's not early at all.
I have work at 7 a.m.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's not early. I'm drinking a beer that you have featured on here before. I've had this beer before. I think it's good. I asked my boss, and he said he thought it was utter trash, but he's also a massive snob. But then again,
he also kind of isn't a big fan of Society, if I remember right?
Yeah, I think he likes one beer from them. I think it's
which is insane, but to be fair,
yeah,
he has a very different kind of style palette, too.
Yes. So Society, speaking of them, yes, their Fest beer is what I'm...
Yeah, which I actually had a little while back, and I like quite a bit.
I like it. I was expecting a Martzen, but I realized a Martzen and Fest beer aren't really the same-ish.
Right. Fest beers are way more on like the typical German lager kind of spectrum. Although I don't know that they're actually lagers off the top of my head. They probably are.
But yeah, this beer is very crushable, as the hipsters would say.
Hell yeah. I am with it. Yeah, I like that beer quite a bit, but yeah, it's definitely nowhere near, like, when you think Oktoberfest, most people think Marzens, where, like, just big, like, almost sweet, but really, like, bready, malty kind of malt bomb. And that beer is not that at all.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have a German beer this week that I'm really not sure how to pronounce. Evidently, this brewery was founded in 1436, because, Germany be old, y'all. But this is, I'm going to just take a stab at this. I think the umlaut means it's a hard U, which would make this Wernesgrüner. Wernesgruner. It's a Bitburger product, it looks like, or at least it's owned by Bitburger.
Oh, nice. That Bitburger's solid.
Yeah, and I don't know that I've had this. I mean, then again, this looks like every, like, random German beer that you would see on the shelf at a liquor store. Yeah, it's extremely, like, right down the middle, like, German lager. I'm assuming it's a lager. Pilsner. But yeah, I mean, it's just a German Pils by definition. It's totally fine. A little bitter for my liking, but not bad at all.
Nice. That sounds pretty good. I mean, I had the Bitburger Fest beer about like a week or two ago. So, and
nice.
That was good.
Oh, you know what? I think this is actually is this actually... I wonder if they're specifically with Aldi. Because I'm looking, and it looks like... maybe it's just here. Anyway, yeah, I think that's where I got it, is at Aldi.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, it's totally fine. I mean, it's nothing that stands out by any means, at least to me. But for how warm it is in this room, I'm fucking with it.
Oh, yeah.
Cool, man. Well, we will go ahead and jump into format then. I also, as a backup, I do have the Buffalo Bills pumpkin ale. That, like, generic ass fucking... I think this shit isn't everywhere. It's like the lazy pumpkin beer. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but considering how warm it is, it's not the worst thing. And mostly that's because I'm trying to avoid drinking the my last North Park Beer Company Black is Beautiful Stout, because it's real warm, and that thing is going to be real heavy.
Yeah, that sounds dangerous.
Yeah, although for that commentary, I might break it out. We'll see. That or I'll make a daiquiri or something. All right, well, why don't we get into format, and I'll stop blabbering about booze since we are not a beer show yet. But keep it up, UFC. You'll turn us off to this sport yet. So why don't we start off with Chris? You want to... Oh, I guess we should get to news. I always forget about this segment. Some big news this week. Let's see. A couple podcasts came back this week. They've been on hiatus. The Eight Limbs podcast, which is the Fight Site's Muay Thai podcast. That's back, which is pretty cool. Meatball Molly's show, Coffee with a Chance of Meatballs, is back for season 2. Brendan Fitz's podcast is back. He ended it about a month or so ago, and he just came back with his first episode in a while, and he's back to his interview format. Although he's doing them remotely, and so I'm excited about that. Let's see. Morning Combat is now 3 times a week, which is pretty interesting.
Ooh, yeah.
Frank Shamrock announced he's starting a podcast called The Warrior's Code, which I have to imagine is already a podcast. And he just has not Googled this because MMA fighters just assume they can make up 3 words and just use them like somebody doesn't own that shit already. Here, I'll look this up live. The Warrior's Code podcast. That's the Code of the Warrior, The Art of Manliness. That sounds like a fucking great podcast. You know what? Actually, Warrior's Code with Frank Shamrock, I believe, is the only podcast that's coming up under that name. So, good on you, Frank Shamrock, except for how you're kind of a terrible person based on recent events that have come out about you. Maybe don't leave dogs in cars. All right. And then, yeah, fuck that dude. Anyway, I'll talk more about... He was actually on a podcast later this week as well. But should be noted, if you're a Frank Shamrock fan, he's starting a podcast about... I don't know, the same thing every MMA fighter says when they start a podcast, where it's like self-help advice and fitness advice or whatever the fuck they all say. And then lastly, Uncle Joey Diaz is starting up his new podcast, Uncle Joey's Joint. I don't know what that thing is going to be. Joey keeps saying it's going to be very low production value, which if he's saying that, considering I just watched a video of him yelling while someone's using a tree cutter outside of his house for like 12 minutes. And he's playing music on top of that, so I don't know what the fuck that podcast is going to be, but that's the thing, evidently.
All right.
But that is the big news that I heard this week, anyway. So
nice, yeah. I remember I did see him post something on Instagram about that, or on his social media.
Yeah, and he's been doing some stuff on Patreon recently. He's been doing basically like a daily check-in where I'll do a video, and then he's been doing kind of like a longer, like 15, 20-minute podcast kind of thing where he just like smokes a shitload of weed and yells at you to like get the fuck up, cocksucker, and wash your balls or whatever he says.
Yeah, some gross shit.
So,
but, yeah.
Well, to be fair, I don't know. I fucking love it. Maybe it's because my dad was an asshole and from New Jersey, so maybe I just 100% relate to that shit. But I don't know. I could use some old white dude yelling in a New Jersey accent in my life every once in a while. You know what I mean? My dad's kind of gone soft, so I need Joey to do it every once in a while.
That checks out. That's fine then.
Yeah, and by soft I mean my dad's like a nice person nowadays, unlike when I was a kid. So shouts out to that fool. All right, so why don't we go ahead and get started? Chris, you want to start us off with the MMA podcast you recommend people catch this week? Because I was actually surprised. It was actually a pretty good week for podcasts, considering how slow, the fight news was this week between fucking Bellator Milan and Paul Daly's fight falling out and the goddamn Home Aldana card.
I've told you what I think about Bellator, and this is literally why I don't really tune into Bellator is because bad shit always happens. That's why.
Well, okay, so that's undeniable. Bad shit always does happen. Bellator events are gonna Bellator. That shit is true. But there's really good fights happening in Bellator also.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I know when
one of these days you'll watch them and you'll find out.
Oh no, I tune into it when it's like the big stuff sometimes.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't pay attention to like Bellator undercards at all anymore unless I know one of the dudes fighting. So, anyway, well, so we're starting off with your catch this week, right?
Yeah, it's the co-main event live chat. I think that's on their Patreon. Oh, it's on the Patreon app.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like their regular.
Yep. So it's so essentially it's their Wednesday show where they do a live chat. They start a thread on their Patreon where you can ask questions, and then they hang out and answer them. Pretty cool.
So yeah, I think I had watched it right after they had recorded it, so like I wasn't able to join.
Right. Well, and I think what they do basically is I don't know that it's actually live currently. It's been off and on because of how their situation's set up. So sometimes it's live. Sometimes they'll ask for questions a day ahead and they'll answer all of them on the show the next day. I believe this was one of those, but that was that would have been the episode on, I believe, September 30th.
Yeah, that's what I have it marked down here.
Yeah, I actually didn't catch that one. How was it?
It was solid. They talk about just the chaos of the lead up to that main event. Not like chaos as magic, but just like the shit talking.
Right.
They immediately talk about Adesanya's titty comparison to other gyno-looking titties.
Yeah. I forgot. I actually did listen to part of this because this is the episode where they said the word titty about 45 times.
Yep. They discuss how far and above Adesanya is just level-wise compared to everyone else. At least at the moment. They said, someone in the live chat was like, Adesanya versus GSP, let's go. They're just like, come on now. Then, of course, they talk about Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier and the charity event Ruse that Conor clearly put out because it's just going to piss Dana off, and Conor's like, fuck you, Dana.
Well, Conor's just trying someone to get it to pay any attention to anything other than all of his convictions.
That too, yeah. They're like, isn't this a distraction from something else?
Yeah, it's from him pulling his dick out all the time.
Yeah. Oh boy. And then someone asked, who's the smallest person that could submit Ngannou? They're probably going with Ryan Hall.
Yeah. Leg lockers are a good bet. Especially, I think they even said like straight jiu-jitsu too, which like in that case, yeah.
Yeah.
Although don't sleep on Mighty Mouse. If it's just straight jiu-jitsu, I think Mighty Mouse could just survive long enough for Ngannou to completely
No, I think
die.
the ground rules they had were it's just there's no striking because they said obviously that's stupid if you let Ngannou.
Yeah, okay, well they would still he would still murder DJ.
Yeah, that too. Outweighs him by like 130 pounds, so.
Yeah. Although I still have I'm 0% convinced Ngannou can grapple at all.
Yeah, especially nowadays because he's like, let me just train with Teddy Atlas for a bit, which is fine, improve.
I mean, it's great, but I guess it doesn't matter when you can just spaz your hands at people and they just die. But,
So that's what I had for that one. It was solid. I would put a lot more, but like you said, the format was just them answering questions. And I just kind of
and it's kind of all over the place too. Some of it's not even all MMA focus either. So, but yeah, that show's a lot of fun. How you liking their Patreon in general?
I've tried my best to check it out whenever they put out content. I get the push notifications, but I'm usually at work. That's the only issue. Yep. So I just have to start checking them out in the morning.
Yeah, that's what I normally do. Or the other cool thing is you can add the RSS feed to your podcast player, and then you can just add the episodes from there.
That's right.
So that's what I do, like with Severe and everybody, Between Rounds, all those dudes. I just I add the RSS feed to my podcast player, and that way I just automatically find out when shit happens. Yeah,
that's something I might have to do. Even though the app is pretty consistent at letting me know.
Yeah, the app actually works pretty good. It sometimes can be hit or miss depending on updates they push, but overall, yeah, I haven't had much problems with it. Cool, man. Let's see. I guess I should jump into one of my catches for this week. The first catch I will say is the Protect Your Neck podcast, episode 222. Dan Tom's breakdown of this card was a lot of fun. It's a little all over the place, which is, I mean, it wouldn't be the Protect Your Neck show and it wouldn't be hosted by Dan Tom if it was a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, no.
Insert Dan Tom jerk off gif here. But it's just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. His story about the Bellator Hawaii show and seeing Grasso and Aldana and Pearl Gonzalez, people there, was really funny. Especially since I don't think he realized that Pearl trains out of, whatchamacallit, the Freak Show with, why can I not think of the Bellator champion's name, who I'm a big fan of? She went to SDSU.
Oh, Ilima McFarlane.
Thank you. I kept trying to say Renee Aldana. I knew that was wrong. McFarlane. Ilima McFarlane. So he had a fun story about that. And then, honestly, he just had a really good breakdown of this card. I just enjoyed it, like, across the board. There's nothing specific that stands out to me. It's kind of hard with these breakdown shows to say, like, oh, there's one specific thing that was, like, the thing. Unless somebody just, like, nailed a pick or something like that. But overall, just a really fun breakdown show. And it's hard to do a fun breakdown show for that bad a card. And so I think, especially the dudes that are doing that research for these kinds of cards, man, like, God, you gotta respect that, because that's hard time to put in. As someone who has done some tape study for some really bad cards, that, like, this one, I was not even gonna pretend like I was gonna do tape study on. So it was just too goddamn rough to get through. So big shouts to Dan Tom for not only doing all that work, but also putting out a great episode on top of it.
Nice, man. Yeah, I haven't listened. It's been a minute since I've listened to Protect Your Neck.
Yeah, I've been loving that show. I mean, I love me some Dan Tom. He is 100% my kind of people. So the more Dan Tom content, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. Yeah, and he has like that fun kind of charisma that's like it's not really a radio personality, but it'd be if a radio DJ wasn't annoying and all whacked out on coke.
Yeah, well, I feel like Dan Tom makes all the jokes he knows he's not supposed to make, and then immediately panics a little bit. Like, I think we have a little bit on this show, too, of that. He definitely, I would describe it as Anderson Cowan from the Film Vault type of energy, a little bit the same way I think we do. Where, like, he's absolutely going to make the terrible joke, but then immediately regret it and feel shame. But then also just keep digging in that hole because he can't help himself. And I'm always here for that type of content. So, big shouts to Dan Tom and Protect Your Neck, episode 222. Cool, man. Did you have any other catches for this week?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to say Heavy Hands, Polish Power is the name of the episode.
Yeah, that was a really good episode.
I like that one a lot. They were
it's episode.
elated that Jan Blachowicz won.
Yep. Yeah, I think I got a number here. What was it? It is 336.
They said Costa has a tiny dick and was unprepared. That's why he lost.
They had some really fucking hilarious takes on this episode. In the last couple of weeks, really, they have about this matchup.
They're like, in all seriousness, Izzy, which just has a lot more fighting experience and just... I mean, yeah, that's really what it came to, and he's just way more crafty. Costa, is Costa or Costa? I don't know. I guess it's Costa. Everyone keeps saying Costa. I don't fucking know. Costa had nothing for him. Izzy was too patient. The outside leg kicks negated his power and confidence to pressure forward. I mean, yeah, and I suppose it doesn't help that he's not a switch fighter, so he's not going to be comfortable going to southpaw. At least.
Well, it's also, Izzy's constant feints and feinting direction changes. Paul had no answer for.
Yeah, no, that was pretty damn one-sided in a fun way.
Yeah. It's kind of how I thought that was going to go. I didn't think it was going to be such a drumming.
Let's see. They were very impressed with Jan Blahovich's performance. I was too. Did you and I both choose Reyes?
Yeah. No, I had Jan Rivia first round KO.
Oh, nice.
So, okay. Which he almost got and then got it in the second.
I think I chose Dominic Reyes. I can't remember. Either way, they said we get a great rematch of Jan versus Thiago Santos. Yeah, it should be more competitive. It's competitive the first one, but Santos caught him in that second round. I think off a counter.
Was it second or was it third? I remember, pretty much Jan just sprinted into a punch.
I think it's the second round, but I'm probably wrong.
No, you could be right.
Then they recap city kickboxing fighters like Kaikar France, Brad Riddell, and then of course they already talked about Adesanya. Of course, the very outspoken coach in Phoenix, Arizona, Eric Albarsarin, was talking shit to Izzy on the side of the fence, saying, "We're coming for Volkanovski," and Izzy retorted with, "I'll come all over you. I have my dick wrapped around my waist. It's a black belt."
Yep. Izzy was fucking hilarious this week.
Yeah.
And I love that everybody is all fucking up in arms and like, oh, Izzy is disrespecting the sport. You're like, well, first off, we can start with the fact that the big difference between what the things Izzy did and the things Colby did is Izzy was fucking hilarious during all of it, and Colby was fucking not hilarious during any of it.
It was actually concerning.
The big difference for me. Yeah, well, not just that, but like, yeah, Izzy was, there was deep layers of irony and satire, and it was all well written, and even the things that weren't well written were very, like, visually fucking ridiculous, like with him pretending to spray cum on Eric Albarracin, whereas Colby was like, oh yeah, fucking 1900s racist joke, bro. Like, alright, great. Yeah, it's fucking. I love all of the shit where Izzy is dealing with, like, Paulo Costa is not only a Bolsonaro supporter and super homophobic on Twitter for the last, I don't know, handful of years, but then on top of that, he also is like super homophobic towards Izzy in the lead up. Then Izzy ends up humping him at the end, like, just dripping in satire and fucking love that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, Costa is like, it's a disgusting act. I need to get my revenge.
Well, and I believe Heavy Hands were the people who had the best take on that, which is, by saying that, you're just saying you want to get humped again, right? Isn't that, I mean, kind of a little bit? You're just saying you want to get humped again?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I believe also in that episode, Phil mentioned that that Israel accidentally drummed some sentience.
Hold on.
Oh, yeah?
Sorry, there was a very distracting noise my computer just made. Hold on.
That's a good news.
You know what I think it is? It's, because I'm using these fucking AirPods. I think it might be low battery.
Oh, they might be dying? Yep.
Let's find out. Well, I'll find out.
That's probably what it is.
I'll find out in the meantime. Let's see.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, I'll finish talking about Heavy Hands. But, I believe Phil McKenzie at one point says that Israel accidentally drummed some sentience into Costa. Which, I mean, yeah, his game plan was just, or lack of a game plan was just kind of astounding. Although I say that, and really, no one has outshone that kind of worst brain thinking in a fight, I believe is how Heavy Hands describes that award. Irene Aldana's got to be up there after this last weekend. Good God. That was one of the most frustrating. She just didn't even pretend to cut the cage. Like, Paulo Costa at least tried to cut the cage and just it could not do it successfully. Irene Aldana just kept walking at the cage and circling. It was awful. Ugh. God, that fight. I'm still angry about that fight yesterday. Luckily, I picked up some really good wax, so I've been surviving on that. And also, if you guys are in California and you're into weed, I've been fucking with FloraCal lately. It's one of the brands down here that they're like, down here in San Diego, it's a $45 eighth, which is, our weed is expensive as shit down here compared to pretty much everywhere except for San Francisco. Which sucks. Shouts out to our military fucking part of the population that keep our weed prices high as shit. But FloraCal's been having some incredible shit. I picked up some Sonoma cake, which is a 30.12% THC strain. It's some fucked up shit, but it's really good. So shouts out to that. Cookie strain. I believe it's Fino of wedding cake, which is a cross of, I forget which blend of cookies, but yeah, good shit.
So yeah, my shit's low battery, so I'm trying to think of what's the most seamless.
You're gonna have to switch to headphones.
No, I know.
Because otherwise they're gonna die on you, and you're not gonna. Yeah, so, you should be able to just disconnect, plug them in, and then disconnect YouTube or Bluetooth.
All right. I'll try right now.
it's hilarious because I only know how to do this, not because I've ever used AirPods, but because I've listened to enough podcasts who've had this exact problem on air. So shouts out to that. I wonder who it would have been. Must have been a guest on Bert's podcast, maybe? I want to say. Which means it must have been Shane Gillis or somebody. Although Shane, I don't know.
So yeah, I can hear you just fine again. So I figured out how to use these.
Nice.
I need to buy like a charger thing. I think my brother has one or just use his. I don't fucking
There you
know.
go.
But these things are handy. So glad my pops gave me these. Anyways, alright. Back to what the fuck we were talking about.
Yeah, that Heavy Hands episode was really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. That was funny.
Hell yeah.
And then
Do you have anything else on that one?
No, not on that one.
Okay, cool. Let's see. The other catch that I had for this week was also a preview of the card this weekend because honestly, I listened to both. I listened to a couple previews for the card trying to get excited about the card because I was so fucking not excited to watch it. I actually didn't start watching it until it was almost over, just so I could skip literally everything that wasn't fights. And even then, I didn't end up finishing the Aldana fight. But the other show that I wanted to call out for a catch this week is the MMA Vivisection, UFC Fight Island 4. It's really good. It's a really fun episode with Phil and Connor. Not Phil, god damn it. Zane and Connor. This is what happens when we talk about these shows back to back. I end up blending the names every time. I think I get Connor right every time, but that's kind of the easy part, right? Yeah, it was just a really good episode. I believe they referred to it as UFC Fight Island 4 facsimiles, since essentially all these are like facsimiles of decent fights, but not actually decent fights. Yeah, they actually made a couple of really salient points. The fact this card is kind of damning of the UFC scouting process, since so many fighters are just like so either really young in their career or near 50-50 fighters or dudes who have like really questionable records where you're like, oh boy, some of your opponents are way below 500. And yeah, it's just interesting to hear them talk about how insanely skippable the entire event is, and then to have to still go through and talk about the fights on it. And yeah, it's just really good. Connor has a great husky European voice theory for women,
Okay.
which I fucks with. I also like how they called the co-main event of this card the Costco style co-main event, because you're getting more meat for the price of it, because it's just some big old chonky boys doing a lot of chonky boy things. And let's see. And they ask when Holly Holm crosses over from functional to functionless.
Yeah.
And that is something I keep waiting on. So, yeah, it was just a really good episode. And, again, trying to make those episodes breaking down a card like this interesting is a fucking tall order. And I really enjoyed both Protect Your Neck and this, the MMA Vivisection, both the prelim and the main card breakdown for UFC Fight Island 4. So, big shouts out to them.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Do you have any other catches for this week?
Yeah. Fight's gone by at 2:33.
Hell yeah, that's a
Didn't
good
really
one.
have too many notes on it, except that it was funny.
Yeah, it's a really... All the episodes Jack
yeah.
Slack put out this week were good. What was... Here, I probably have a note or two on it. Where are we? It's probably somewhere. I don't know. My notes are fucking chaos right now. Let's see. Oh, right. He talks about strategy versus tactics. Talks about catching kicks and the low kick. And he talks about people like Andrade and Costa having... and Cormier, I think, was the other person. It might have been Cormier.
Okay.
No, it wasn't Cormier. It was somebody else. But he talks about how they all have forward-moving styles, but their defense is 100% reliant on them retreating. It wasn't Cormier. I'm trying to remember who the other person was. It says cashiers. It's maybe Cannoneer, maybe? I'm not sure. Fucking autocorrect fucked me on that. But anyway, yeah, he made the comparison about Jessica Andrade and Paulo Costa, where like all of their defense is them kind of shelling up and retreating, which is completely counterintuitive to how their entire game works. I thought that was a kind of an interesting comparison that I hadn't heard before. The other thing he said in this episode that really, really proved true this weekend, and last weekend, is how it's difficult to judge ring generalship until you see someone fight someone who's really good at it, like Izzy versus Paulo, or people like, Izzy is probably one of the best at it right now, about being able to kind of not only dictate where the fight takes place, but always be at the right angle to circle out or to change an angle. There's not many people in the sport who can do it, and even less in those upper weight classes, so definitely a good episode.
Yeah, I can see that's why Izzy is talking about how he wants to fight at heavyweight. I don't know if he's just blowing smoke up everyone's ass right now, because I know he really wants to just defend his belt at middleweight first, multiple times.
And who knows with all that shit.
He's got a big frame, so he could definitely do it.
Yeah, and a lot of it's all just negotiation ploys, you know.
I don't even know if he'll fight John Jones anymore.
I don't know.
I want them to fight. I think it'd be
Jones.
competitive.
Yeah, I just put zero faith in John Jones doing anything at all at this point. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on with that dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it for catches, right?
Yep.
Let's see. Do you have any skips for this week?
Nope.
So I said last week I was going to make everyone who mentioned Conor and Pacquiao a skip, and honestly, a lot of people mentioned it, but not many of them really wasted time talking about it. A lot of them either briefly mentioned it or that's dumb. A lot more of them actually talked about the Poirier versus Conor charity bullshit, which okay, at least it's about MMA. It's still kind of a waste of time, but it was less egregious. However, there was one motherfucker who spent 2 entire shows almost talking about nothing else, and even at one point gets Teddy Atlas on his show to talk about Conor fighting Pacquiao and how Conor has a better chance than people think. And that motherfucker is Ariel Helwani, the alleged journalist of the year.
I followed him on social media. I couldn't take it anymore.
Dude, it's awful. First off, so this was DC and Helwani, specifically the episode I'm mentioning as a skip is the September 29th episode, because I couldn't even listen to anything after that. I couldn't even get through the next episode. This was a pre-taped show on Sunday, and DC literally opens by showing so hard for the UFC. I think the phrase is it possible the UFC just keeps getting better every card, Ariel? Which is okay, bro. You can't say that when this weekend's card is fucking Holm versus Aldana. Which they didn't even mention the entire time. And then the real, of course, fucking Israel said y'all must have forgot. So Ariel lost his mind and said y'all must have forgot about 4,500 times in this episode. And then they just spend forever talking about Conor versus Pacquiao. Ariel says the phrase, "No one wants it, we'll all watch it, and we all cover it, though."
Yeah.
Which is that's the problem, bro. Yeah, I don't. It's fucking awful. It's embarrassing that this is what the fuck this sport respects, is someone putting out literally just trash show content that has zero actual relevance to the sport, zero actual context, and even he is saying he doesn't give a fuck about it. However, y'all are clicking on it, and you guys will all quote him on saying this bullshit, so he'll keep doing it. And it's embarrassing. It's fucking embarrassing that any of it happens. Man, I can't imagine his show still gets viewers. What the fuck? It's just embarrassing. Oh, and I didn't even bring up the fact that he literally cuts a promo on Booker T, the pro wrestler, and then they play a clip of Booker T trashing Ariel in DC.
Oh.
Ugh. It's the worst. Everything about it's bad. It's bad content made by questionable people. And, yeah, I'm not here for it. Fuck that show. Ariel Helwani can eat a dick.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
He makes it impossible to be a fan. The content he puts out is bad. It's objectively bad at this point. It didn't used to be. The MMA Hour or Fortnite or whatever the fuck.
Good interviews in it.
Dude, even not that long ago, 2015, 2016 even. When we first started this show, that show was still kind of okay.
Yeah.
But fuck, man, his content is unbearable nowadays. And it sucks. It should be better. It really has. He has no excuse for it not to be better, other than he just figured out playing to the lowest common denominator makes him the most money, which is sad. But if he wants to be the fucking Andrew Dice Clay of MMA, go for it, bro.
Yeah.
Actually, that's, to be fair, that's probably unfair to Andrew Dice Clay, who's more clever.
Ariel,
if he wants to be the
like,
Larry the Cable,
Dickory, dickory, duck. I'm a
Yeah.
show for
No.
the cock. Of damn.
like the schmo is more the Andrew Dice Clay of MMA. I would say Ariel is more like the fucking Larry the Cable guy of MMA.
Oh boy, is he gonna do? Is
Where
he
he
gonna
just
cut an
like
ad
chose
for,
a bad.
Prilosec OTC?
He chose a bad gimmick because he noticed people cared more, and it's bad, and he should feel bad. That's my take. Anyway, now that I'm done shitting on Ariel like we used to do all the time, man, I've stopped listening to everything he does because I can't at a certain point. And then every once in a while, I'll try and check back in and be like, man, maybe I just think like maybe things are different. Maybe I'm overreacting. Then I try and listen to his content. I'm like, oh fuck, this is bad, dude. His show is worse than Brendan Schaub's show this week. I listened to fucking Below the Belt this week, and this was way worse. Anyway, sorry. I intentionally listened to bad shows. I listened to shows that I knew were going to say a lot of dumb shit about the Connor stuff, and none of them even got close to comparing to how embarrassing the shit was. So that is my skip for this week. Is most of Ariel Helwani's content, but is specifically DC and Helwani for September 29th. Jesus Christ, what are they doing? Let's see. Let's move on to a more positive note. Chris, do you have an MMA podcast people can't miss this week?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and, for the entertainment factor, say the one that you had mentioned to me the other day, and I finally watched it today.
Yeah.
I like Remember the Show a lot, episode 3. It was funny.
Yeah, it's Bilal Muhammad's new show, which is hosted with Jay Anik, John Anik's twin brother.
Yep, Jason Anik.
Or as I like to call him, the Spicoli of the Anik house.
Yeah, I remember someone. I was reading like the live, or at the time the chat messages, and they're like, and they even like posted to someone's like comment. It's like, all right, time to take off the wig now, John. Shit like that,
Yeah. There's a lot of stoner jokes in the chat. I think I was actually in there making a couple, to be fair. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. That show's wild as hell. So they have a couple different segments. They do some fight picking because, of course, Bilal does a lot of. He's actually really good at picking fights. He's really good at it. And so there's some of that, some betting talk, and then they did that big trivia show with, I believe, let's see who all was on it.
Is on there.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. He did the game show, and Tatiana Suarez ended up having to do some wild shit.
Yeah, she had.
It was Tatiana Suarez and who was the other person?
Guy
I can't remember.
They called him Flash. Don't remember his name.
Oh, it was Jared Flash Gordon.
Oh, it was Jared Gordon. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
all I heard is
buddies
I said, hey,
Rufus.
Gordon, and it was Flashing. Wait, who the fuck is? Okay,
yeah, it's Jared Flash Gordon, and then they had their other buddy who's just recently signed with the UFC too. That dropped in for a minute.
Yeah, it was entertaining though. I remember they made.
Yeah, I loved it.
Jared do burpees every time he did a burpee. He had to say, "I'm a coward."
Yep.
And then Tatiana Suarez, she had to yell out her window, "My mom and dad beat me," or something like that, and she was embarrassed because apparently she lives with her brother and her brother's fiance.
Right.
Brother.
Yeah, it was pretty goddamn funny.
But it was funny.
Yeah,
I haven't seen something like that interactive in a long time.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. So the game show is like kind of Jeopardy style, where there's categories. Like he did face swaps for male MMA fighters, or making them female, and vice versa. He did pick whose hairline this is, which was a pretty good one.
Was Jacare, but it's DC.
Yeah, I couldn't figure that one out at first. Let's see. I think there was whose quote was it, and then there was some other one too. But yeah, it was really funny. And then they had to do scavenger hunt stuff, like they had to find something in their house or shit like that. It's just a lot of fun. You could definitely see that show seems like it'd be fun to just hang out and drink to. It's kind of just like a shit show. It reminds me a little bit of if Adam Hunter's show was less chaotic in that they were saying horrible things, but that it was equally chaotic in just like the amount of weird, crazy shit going on. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Hell yeah, man!
All right.
Shouts out to what the fuck strain is that? I think it's the connected strain.
I was smoking earlier
some Gushers,
some homegrown. My brother grew a Gorilla OG clone.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, turned out really nice.
Hell yeah.
He just got done with a Rainbow Punch, which basically tastes like Fruity Pebbles.
Nice. Gorilla OG's got to be a Gorilla Glue and an OG cross,
yeah,
right?
It's a pretty potent indica.
I was going to say, probably super gassy.
Yeah, I like it, though. It puts me to sleep.
Hell yeah.
This movie probably
dude.
will... I don't know if this movie's going to put me to sleep.
Yeah, it should be interesting for sure. Let's see. Actually, speaking of which, we should keep on moving on. But, yeah, that was a really good episode. My can't miss this week, I actually have two of them. My first can't miss is Tengridome, episode 2. This is the Fight Site, or the episode of the show on the Fight Site podcast network, and it's really good. I believe dude's name is Iggy, who hosts it. I apologize if I'm fucking that up. I believe that's right. I mentioned this last week. It was the first time I listened to it, and we mentioned the clipping. I actually talked to him afterwards on Twitter, and he said, yeah, essentially the way he was doing it and having to combine it because he's recording it off his phone, which, by the way, sound quality off his phone is actually really good for like what I would expect. But he was able to fix the clipping sound. So this week it sounds fucking great. And I absolutely loved it. It's a lot of fun. He talks about some of the insane ramblings on Twitter. He talks about everyone losing their minds when black athletes act boastful. And actually, you guys heard on the intro the clip of him talking about how combat sports is all about narratives and stories. And how it's kind of important to pay attention to them. So... yeah, he makes a lot of really interesting points, and he has a lot of, like, he kind of talks about a lot of hard, difficult topics, like race and homophobia and stuff like that, especially in MMA right now, and considering English is not his first language, dude is crazy eloquent. I'm a big fan of this show, and I think it is definitely a voice that we haven't heard a voice like his in the sport. At least not in podcasts that I've listened to, and I find it fucking refreshing. I like the dude a lot, and I think that show's gonna be really interesting as it goes on. So, Tengridome, episode 2, Tengridome. Give it a listen. It was good as hell.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Let's see. Oh, and then lastly, the other one, my other can't miss for this week is the co-main event watch party for UFC 253. They did a big old Zoom watch party, which I could not attend for UFC 253 because I thought I took 70 milligrams worth of edibles. I actually took about 130 milligrams worth of edibles, and I was not about to try and be in a Zoom call during that amount of edibles, because the end of that fucking 253 card got a little squirrely on me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really funny. Chad fucking nails the Jan Blachowicz pick. I should have maybe used that for the clip this week, but Chad essentially says, like, to Ben, I don't know, I think I have Jan by TKO in this fight. Ben's like, oh yeah, how's that gonna happen? Ben's like, or Chad's like, I don't know, he punches him and Brands falls down, and then he follows up with ground and pound and gets a TKO. Ben's like, okay, we'll see. Yeah. That's exactly what happened. Was pretty good. Pretty good. Also, Ben gets pretty hammered during this episode. Okay. He starts taking hella shots, some of which were looking pretty large. I forget what he was taking shots of. It was some kind of whiskey. It wasn't proper 12, I remember that. It was something like generic though, like I don't know, like a wild turkey or a Buffalo Trace or something like that, but yeah, pretty good episode overall. I liked it quite a bit. A lot of fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of other ones I need to catch up on. Like I told you before, there's a caveat. I listened to most of the stuff at the beginning of the week because once the Padres started their wildcard series against the Cardinals, I kind of just checked out of MMA stuff because I was just so excited and stressed out at the same time watching them play.
Yeah, fair.
That will continue on Tuesdays. They play the stupid Los Angeles Dodgers.
The The Doyers.
The Doyers, who I fucking can't stand. I know they're the best team in baseball.
Do you see the Chargers?
Yeah,
out?
don't remind me.
Fucking
Don't remind me. I enjoyed watching them.
cheering on the goddamn Dodgers.
I enjoyed watching, I'll say this, Tom Brady, the GOAT, just come back and
So
throw
fucking
5
embarrassing.
TDs and embarrass the Chargers to win the game. That was pretty fun. I watched it at work today. I was very happy. So fuck the Chargers. Fuck you, Dean Spanos, you piece of shit. Yeah, and fuck the Dodgers. If the only thing is, if the Padres do upset the Dodgers in this best of 5, the only issue is like, well, now you beat the best team in the league. You kind of have to win the World Series. And I'm just like, oh, right, okay.
Yeah, well, we know that works out for San Diego.
And this is the thing.
teams.
And if they do win the World Series, I'm gonna have to do something crazy on the podcast because you know it's 2020. If the Padres win the World Series, so
True.
I'll have to like
True.
drink
Yeah, we
like
might
just
have
the
to.
nastiest fucking malt beverage or some crap. I don't know.
That or we'll have to get you to like chug like a.
Like a stout, like an Russian.
I was gonna say like an AleSmith Speedway stout or something. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's just not even fun though, because it's like you're supposed to enjoy those beers. It's more like you would chug, what is it, like a Four Loko and then like shotgun a fucking shitty beer. I don't know.
Oh, that's what you should do. Is make your shotgun a Cutwater Spirit.
Or no, if the Padres win World Series, it'll have to be something that's like a really good brown ale or something with brown and. Oh no, dude, I'll just like shotgun a fucking Swinging Friar ale that Ballast Point does, and then like do some other shit, and then like maybe chug a 394. Just do
There you go.
Oh god, dude, chugging a 394, fuck. Oh, that'd be a little rough.
Yeah. Chugging IPAs is rarely the move.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess 394 is technically a pale.
Yeah, it's
right?
like a mosaic pale.
Yeah.
Alright, well, that's it for me. I kind of want to get this movie started because I don't know how long. Let me check how long this fucking thing is.
I think it's like an hour. It's like 90 minutes, hour and a half, something like that.
Oh, yeah, only 90 minutes. That's fine.
So, yeah.
The only thing is, I have to buy it because I don't have Prime Video.
Really? How do you not have Prime? Jesus Christ.
I have Prime shipping.
What the fuck is the difference? Are those split now?
Actually, let me see. What's it say? Join?
You probably do if you just log in.
Let me see.
Anyway, real quick, some honorable mentions for me. Shots Fired, episode 8 was really good. Some interesting talk about sports washing with Trump in the UFC, and Michael making some more Django comparisons also, Chris, did you know Usman was also at the Trump rally?
No, that checks out.
Yeah, also, why is no one talking about that? This is the only place I've ever heard it, is that Usman was at the Trump rally also.
Maybe because, I mean, this sounds... And I'm not trying to be blunt.
Ali is...
It's that, and maybe because Usman's black, and they don't want, like, some sort of narrative that, like, a black athlete could support Trump or something like that.
It's just weird, definitely. Well, and also, yeah. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting they brought that up. So
I don't have Prime. That's fine.
about
I'll
it.
just buy this movie for $6. I made good
There you
money
go.
this past week, so fuck it. I will buy this piece of shit.
Ballin'.
And you know what? I'm gonna make sure I fucking enjoy it because I'm paying
There you go.
$6 for this.
Yeah, be sure to enjoy the privilege of that one. Let's see. Brendan Fitz podcast, episode 36 was really good. He did an interview with Tyson Chartier about being in Abu Dhabi. Brendan's actually in Abu Dhabi right now. So talk about that and the Ed Herman fight and that kind of stuff. Coffee with a Chance of Meatballs, season 2, episode 1 was really good. Molly McCann talks to Darren Stewart. It was a really fun episode. Talk about all the craziness around that London card that was canceled. They were both supposed to be on, and how Darren ended up fighting on the Cage Warriors card, and Molly almost did as well. And Molly also says in that episode that she currently has COVID and is on quarantine.
Oh man,
which is fucking crazy because I've not heard anybody talk about that. But yeah, so if somebody wants to break some news. I've not heard anybody talk about how Molly McCann has COVID. Let's see. 8 Limbs, episode 11. This is the podcast, the Muay Thai podcast for the Thai boxing podcast for the Fight Site with the best goddamn intro song in MMA Podcasts. It's really good. Anyway, yeah, it's a really fun one. Saram sat in on, this one. That was a lot of fun. Inside the Hexagon, they had an interview with Frank Shamrock talking about his time in Strikeforce. That's also where I found out about the news for the Warriors Code podcast that he's starting. And they're actually about to cover the Playboy Mansion show here shortly on Inside the Hexagon. So that should be a fun episode. Severe MMA episode 281 was really solid. Shouts out to Sean dunking on a reporter at the gate. Or, well, you can call him a reporter if you want. That dude is he makes Ariel Helwani look like a standing journalist. The A-Side live chat, UFC 253 Fallout was really interesting. Esther Lynn is unfortunately leaving MMA for the time being, which is really, really sad day for the sport. She's pursuing VO work and stuff like that since currently she can't actually shoot UFC events. They haven't allowed photography since March. And so she's going off to do other things, which is a sad fucking day for the sport. Because we lost the best photographer ever. And one of the reasons she cited along with not being able to work currently is also the fucking toxic ass fan base being terrible about everything all the time. That's a fucking sad thing to have to hear. That people in the sport are chasing away people that do such good work like Esther Lynn does. So that shit is disappointing. And goddamn it, do better, everybody. Because we need more Esther Lynn's, not less of them.
I agree. Yeah, and Crazy Head's already her last tenure there, right? But
yeah, and she's not MMA fighting currently either. So
crazy. I want to say her photography is gonna still get her a lot of different places, good places.
Oh yeah, I mean she's the best. She's the best in the sport, and it's always been that way. It's crazy. So yeah, big shouts out to Esther Lynn and much love. Let's see, the Fight Site MMA podcast episode 26 was really good. Saran was out because he had school stuff. Because I forget how young these vaping scooter gang lads are. So Danny and Haxorize recapped UFC 253. That was really good. Care Don't Care for UFC 253 recap was very solid. And Mookie and Crookie Show episode 89 was really good as well. So yeah, pretty good podcast this week. Chris, do you have any honorable mention not honorable mention, well-rounded stuff that's not MMA related you want to shout out?
Yeah, I finished that one game, Ghost of Tsushima. Did I already mention that last week?
Nice.
No,
I don't remember.
Yeah, had one of the best endings I've ever experienced in a single-player game, especially a Sony exclusive. It was that
nice.
Good. It was cool. Already mentioned, fuck the Dodgers, go Padres.
Right.
There was more debate on baseball about players having too much fun. Like Fernando Tatis Jr., he had a go-ahead home run for the Padres in an epic playoff game, and he did a bat flip, and it triggered all the boomer baseball fans who grew up.
Shouts out to all white dudes.
It's called Let the Kids Play. You should be able to pimp that shit. The only time it's probably not okay is if you're down 9-0, and then you hit a solo shot. Okay, I get it. Now you're just being a tool, but...
But also, you know what? Let motherfuckers do their thing. How about you don't take all the goddamn fun out of sports? Everybody wants to fucking... Let's go back to the years when they used to let Miami fucking university the U football players do wild shit in the end zone. Let's have more of that kind of shit in sports. Goddamn it. More of Izzy humping Paulo Costa. We should just put that at the end of every fight card. Let Izzy hump Paulo Costa a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I didn't know if you're gonna go with me.
Why not? No, it's I like reaction. I like reactions from all sides. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Cool, man. Let's see. The only well-rounded stuff I had to shout out: Cheap Beer Corner, the Four Brewers show. They have a quick review show where they review cheap beer. It's fucking great. I think I talked about it on this show a long time ago, but they've been off for a long time. But they just came back. They did Foster's. They did Carta Blanca. I believe they did Bud Light Seltzer, which I think is the first seltzer they've done on that show, which is hilarious. But it's, I guess I should say who's on it. It's Jason Harris, who is actually, I believe he's an IT guy in the Riverside IE area, I believe. I think he might work for Amazon, but I'm not positive. I think he might, though. And then the other dude is Matt Becker, who is the former brewer with Packing House Brewery, and he also used to brew with. He used to be a brewer at who makes Cannabis and
Oscar Blues.
Thank you, Oscar Blues, out of the one on the East Coast. I forget which one, North Carolina. Asheville, maybe something like that. It's not Asheville, but it's something like Asheville, South Carolina, maybe.
What's your question again?
There's Oscar Blues on the East Coast. That he used to
I think it's in North Carolina.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think you're right. But anyway, yeah, he's on that show with him, and yeah, it's really funny. They're hilarious, and they actually know a shitload about beer. So it's actually and they both actually genuinely love like cheap, like crisp lagers. Like I believe Jason Harris is one of his like go-to cheap beers is Busch, which like Busch is fucking actually really good. It's like a really crisp, clean lager. So yeah. Anyway, that show's really good. And then the only other thing I wanted to shout out was Binging with Babish. So if you guys all watch any food stuff on YouTube, you probably come across Binging with Babish. Dude who does food videos. But what's really cool is he just recently started a new series on his channel called Stump Sohla. Sohla was the person who used to work for Bon Appetit, who there was a lot of controversy around her kind of getting fucked over by higher ups there in ways that is like questionably racist, but at the very least fucked up. And so she kind of left Bon Appetit after them basically saying like, oh yeah, no, we're going to make things right, and then doing almost fucking nothing. Which is really fucked up because she was one of the best parts of that show. Essentially, she was like doing a bunch of video work and shit, and they're paying her like fucking intern wages and shit like that. It's pretty fucked up story. So she is now doing videos with Babish on his channel on YouTube, and they're fucking great. Like she did a 7-course like tasting menu out of shit you can get in a bodega. She did 18th century mac and cheese, just like goofy shit like that, where basically they spin a wheel and she has to do a dumb fucking food video. I don't know. It's fun, and I like Solo a lot. I like the stuff she does, so give that a listen. And I guess Issues with Andy, episode 86, Trump has COVID, is pretty good, too, to be fair. Also, gotta love that this country is just dripping in irony currently.
Yeah, I saw some meme where it showed like a fucking like 747 or no, the big one. What is it? 770? It's the big ass fucking like plane with like cargo or not. It's not a BC 130, but it's for passengers. It's a maximum passenger one, but
I got you.
It said Clorox on the side that showed like dumping just white powder all over the White House.
Checks out. I mean, to be fair, dude, fucking, I love that in this country, it's, 50 years after Born in the USA came out, and people still know the lyrics of that song?
Yeah. Or they think
the
Fortunate
dumbest.
Son is a song you could play on the 4th of July.
Oh, it's the best. You're like, I get there's the words born and the word USA in that song, but come on, bro, read a little bit. We don't do that in this country. Reading is for pussies, Chris.
Yeah, you fucking pussy, you hooked on Phoenix,
right.
huh?
Dana White's not about them gay boy events like reading. Oh, boy. All right, well, on that note, we are going to watch this movie, Dragon Eyes, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme and Kung Lee. And here, I'll give you guys a description. In St. Jude, drug dealers and corrupt cops have destroyed an urban neighborhood. But newcomer Hong, which, by the way, that's racist, has the fighting skills and moral vision to save this town from itself.
Also featuring as the evil white guy smoking a cigar in the back of this picture of on Amazon,
Yep.
RoboCop, Peter Weller himself.
Goddamn right. Oh my god, it's gonna be bad. So please join us for that. I already have a joint roll.
I'm gonna go grab another beer. I'm ready to go. I'll press.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna crack open.
Oh shit! Wow, it's already
some more
starting
beers
when I
and
press
shit.
watch now. Oops. Okay. I'll keep it paused. I guess do we end this and do another segment, or I can't remember.
Yeah, we're gonna end this here. So that'll be a separate. We'll put that up separately. We'll do. I guess I'll put it up on YouTube and on the podcast feed. That'll probably come out Wednesday. So I'm gonna probably get this up Monday, and then I'll get that up on Wednesday. So look forward to that, and then we'll be back next weekend. Chris, what card is happening next weekend? Do you know?
I have no fucking clue. Let me check.
UFC. Oh, Donna. Where is?
Looks like this weekend it's Marlon Moraes and Corey Sandhagen.
Hey, that's an okay. Oh God. Okay, let me try Tapology.
That's where I'm on right now.
Okay,
Edson
because
Barboza
right now on
versus-
Wikipedia, there's 2 fights on that card.
Marco Americani, Ben Rafa versus Mark.
Okay, well, okay, so there's 13 on here. Yeah, Barboza versus that seems like weird matchmaking. Barboza versus Amir Khani in the co-meet. What the fuck? Okay. Rothwell versus Tybura. Oh, and then this falls off a bit of a clip, huh? Yusuf Zalal back on here. That'll be cool. Fighting an 8-0 prospect out of some country. I don't know that flag. Tom Breeze taking on Bular. I wonder if that's Arjan Bular's
Wait,
brother.
which flag? Because Dricus Duplessis, that's South Africa.
No, Ilya Topuria.
Which one?
It is Georgia. Georgia.
Yeah, I figured. I remember that being Georgia because of Marab.
Yeah. I always fuck it up. Yeah, there's Impu Kasanganese on this card. Wait, is he? Yeah, he's still on
Georgia,
this
is
card.
he from Atlanta?
Giga Chikadze is on this card. All right, Chasey Cortez. Okay. There's some interesting fighters at least on this card. I don't know about this matchmaking yet, but all right. We will. It sounds like we'll actually watch that one.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I'm excited for that. I wonder. Let me real quick while we're talking. Look at the other ones for this month.
I mean, the one on the
Beavers
24th is the
Gucci.
one I'm only really giving a shit about.
Right. Yeah, the Habib vs. Gaethje card. 181. I wonder what the fuck that card's gonna look like. That's right. They're trying to do Silva versus Hall. Oh god. Anyway, okay. So we will go ahead and wrap this here. I did not need to be doing that on air. Probably should have done that off air. But you guys got to look into our planning process for whether or not we're actually going to cover next week. Looks like we might.
I'm gonna go ahead and skip these assholes this week.
I mean, to be fair, I don't blame you. But we will be back to do the commentary, and then we will see y'all next week. So until then, as always, you guys can find us on Twitter, SOV. Nope. What are we? TSOV Pod? Nope. Yeah, TSOV Pod on Twitter. SOVpod@gmail.com. God damn it. I should really have made that easier. And yeah, let us know the MMA podcast you should be checking out. And we will be back. Also, if you go to thesoundofviolence.com, all the show notes have links to everything we talked about. So we'll be back for this Dragon Eyes commentary, which should be fucking real interesting. So, till then, everybody, it is Undecadent. We out. Bye.